Okay, so I'm here at Goodbyes Music Academy with one of our new pro guitarists, Conor.
Hello.
How you doing, Conor?
Yeah, good man. Nice to be here.
Excellent. Conor's been working with us for maybe a couple of months already now.
Yeah.
Fairly new, which is wicked. We're really, really happy to have Conor as part of the core teaching team. So today we're just going to dive in and find out a little bit about Conor's background, his approach to teaching, how he got into music and all that good stuff. So first question, Conor, how did you first get into music at all?
Oh, my parents and my uncles and aunties, they're just music lovers, really. They're, my uncle's like a jazz trumpet player, my other one's a sax player. I've got uncles that play guitar and sing, so it was just like, from an early age, I loved it. Yeah.
And how about guitar specifically? When did you pick up the guitar?
I tried the saxophone and I tried the trumpet, and you're not good at any instrument at the beginning, but it didn't happen. And then my uncle stuck a guitar in front of me, and you know, when you just do it, you're like, this is me forever. So yeah, I was probably about 11, I reckon, and then I started playing guitar and then just ignored everything else in life.
As did I.
Yeah.
So did you have any kind of guitar heroes at that time? Did you have anyone that, like, what inspired you when you had that guitar?
My first love, and will ever stay there, is Angus Young out of AC/DC. Okay. I saw him play. My dad gave me the DVD of Live in Donington, and it was one of those moments where he came out playing Thunderstruck like one-handed, and I was like, oh my god. So yeah, AC/DC, I just fell in love with Angus Young, and the way his technique's incredible still. So he was my first guitar
amazing
hero.
As well, because like you and I both teach, and Thunderstruck is still one of those ones where like kids will say, "Can you play Thunderstruck?"
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't even know about it.
How do you know about that? It's older than me, that song.
Yeah.
And it's just, but it's amazing, isn't it? I just think Angus Young was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. So you started playing guitar. Did you take a kind of, like, did you straight away have lessons? Did you self-teach? How did it work for you?
What did I do? I self-taught for about, I think my parents were like, if you can do this on your own for a few months at least, you know, then we'll start actually taking lessons and start paying for them. So I was lucky in the sense that my parents were like, if you want to play an instrument, we'll support it, but it's got to not be a fad. Like, if you're done in a month, we're not getting lessons. So then I just asked my uncle, just teach me some riffs. I learned Louie, and a few things that I just loved, and then I just dived into it. And then my parents went, right, let's get you a teacher. So I got a teacher of a guy who played gypsy jazz, actually.
Oh, wicked.
And I was like, this isn't rock music. And he was like, well, check this out. And he played something that nearly set the neck on fire. It was so quick, and I was like, let's do it.
Those Django riffs.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So from there, then I just got as many lessons off as many different people as I could. Some flamenco stuff, as we do, like loads of blues stuff off of just different types of players. And I just kept
Were you playing a nylon string when you first started?
Do you know, no, actually, the guitar my uncle gave me was was like an old Washburn guitar that had like massive strings on it. So I learned on steel strings, and I was like, why am I playing so slowly? And then someone gave me an electric, and I was like, oh, I can play. So actually I went in on the hard one, which was big, thick metal strings. Yeah.
It's probably the hardest one to start on, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah. I'm glad I did. I did. But now I would tell people usually start on an electric. Because it's just so much easier.
And I think if that's what you want to play, like if you're inspired by electric guitar, then starting on a classical guitar is just not the same, is it?
It's not the same. And I get it, they're easier to just set up with, but they're harder to play. I find nylon strings, trying to do bar chords or anything, keeping them in tune is just hard.
And I find the neck the fretboard's really fat.
You've got to play with your fists.
Yeah,
it's easy, I think, And especially because I was like, AC/DC mad, and then I found out about Jimi Hendrix, and then I found out about Led Zeppelin. I just that's what I wanted, so you just go from there. Yeah.
Nice. So kind of fast forward a bit, you and I actually both went to ACM.
Yes.
How did you how did you end up there?
I left secondary school, because my birthday's right at the end of the year. I left secondary school, I was still 15, which is mad now I think about it. But the reason I didn't go back is because I went to a Saturday course at ACM, and I played there, and they were like, we're going to learn a Green Day song, American Idiot. And I was like, okay. because I've been playing for quite a while already, I learnt it really quickly. And then, what was his name? He used to run guitar, blonde, spiky hair. He was awesome. Not Adam Payne, but he was friends with Adam Payne.
I remember him.
Actually got me a scholarship there. They were like, if you come and do this exam, if you pass it, then we can give you a scholarship for your first year. So I did go and pass it. I was like terrified. I was like this going into the room. But then I just went straight from secondary school. So by the time I started ACM, I think I'd only been 16 about 4 months, 5 months. So I was really young when I started there. And then just... I do ACM again now, I think, when I'm older, just because it was a bit intimidating. I walked in and everyone in the class had been playing 10 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I've been doing this like 4. But that, going in at the bottom of the class, by the time the second year rolled around, I was near the top of the class because you just get thrown in with these amazing players. And I wouldn't ask for anything differently in that sense because... when you see someone, like my goal was be able to play like an AC/DC album. And these guys were like, you know, just playing incredible stuff.
Yeah.
It just made you step up, which I'm very grateful for.
Did you do the whole 4 years there?
I did 3.
3?
I did 3 out of 4, yeah.
Yeah, cool. I think I did 4.
Did you? Yeah.
I was probably just a bit slower than you.
Yeah, I did 3, but then I got some cool gigs and some cool tours.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Pete Friesen, actually. And he said, do you know, like, you could do the 4th year, but if you're already starting to get gigs and songwriting and doing this stuff, go out and do it and just go and get involved. And I'll thank him for that forever because it did actually get me further. Yeah.
So that brings us on nicely to that. So what were the kind of gigs and tours? How did it take off for you that way?
Well, because I looked quite mad at the time. I had like leopard print hair and a mohawk half the time. So I got into a punk band that was playing and supporting the UK subs, and then I did a few dates for the UK subs because I was supporting them.
Nice.
Our friend's band, the Witch Doctors, would play as well, and they were sort of rockabilly stuff. So I was really into the rock and punk side of stuff. But I always had this massive affinity for soul music. So like Marvin Gaye, Sam and Dave, and old blues stuff as well. Taj Mahal and Keb Mo, I loved them. So I started to record and play loads of that stuff, and then just got offered a gig in like a 9-piece soul and funk band. And I was like, oh, this is more musically challenging. And then toured in Europe with this like 9-piece sort of funk originals band.
That's
and
wicked.
I was like, that's me forever. I just want to play different stuff all the time and not just be a punk musician or a rock musician. I realised I'll get more stuff out of being a good musician and just being able to turn your hand to stuff. Because that's what I listen to anyway. Some days I'm listening to Pantera, sometimes it's Ella Fitzgerald, and it's just that in between. So I was like, I don't want to... That's why the mohawk went. Because I was like, I'm only getting certain type of gigs.
Yeah, you weren't boxing yourself in with that.
Innit? yeah, and a big spiky jacket and that. And I was like, you don't get many gigs with that stuff. It sort of led me into an ethos of, if you want to be a good musician, you just have to love music. I never understood talking to the older... It was actually the punk guys. Well, I was like, you've listened to the same 5 bands for 40 years. Now, I intend to still listen to AC/DC when I'm older, but I want it to be part of a collection instead of just one thing. Yeah. And that kind of terrified me, actually. I was like, I'm playing the same gigs as you, but you've been doing it in the same area for 30, 40 years. That's terrifying. So,
and there is a real circuit with that crowd.
Yeah,
and it's
big time.
Same type of venues,
yes.
year on year. Yeah.
And then I fell out of it because I was doing other gigs, and it's really hard to get back in.
Really?
Because they're like, oh no, we do this still. And I'm like, I just don't... That kind of thing is why I like teaching, it's why I like learning off of different people, because good musicians play music well. So you should just enjoy that, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a lot about the growth, isn't it?
Yeah.
When did you start teaching? When did you first teach a guitar lesson?
When I left ACM, I did 2 tours, one with that funk band, and I went round sort of England and a bit of Europe, and then I got a gig with this really cool, like, Cubano kind of band, like Latin music band, cool. And I never played it before. They just wanted someone to do lead guitar. I got a lesson off of someone who plays more like Latin style, and he said, you pick stuff up quickly. Have you ever tried teaching? So I actually asked my brother, I was like, if any of your friends, do they want to learn guitar? And he was like, oh, 2 of them will. And then I did my first lessons like that and was like, oh, actually, it was okay. Now I think back about it, it was a terrible lesson because I didn't know how to explain it. But I was probably 19 or 20, I reckon, and I started just doing some private lessons with some friends for very cheap. And it just went from there. Then, people just start going, oh, he's good and he teaches, and then it just kind of rolls on.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And how did you go from that journey to end up with us here at Good Vibes?
Do you know, it was teaching made me realise that it's like, oh, it was that next step of getting better at the guitar, because with every skill I think you get to proficient and then you kind of drop off a little bit because you're like, where's my next challenge coming from? And that's when the teaching came in, and I was like, how do you explain someone that actually, you're doing it fine, but to get a note on the guitar you have to play just next to the fret, and then explaining that to be every note you play, and taking that time of explaining something simply to someone made me get so much better. And then I was like, I actually love doing this. I love seeing someone get it and grasp it. So my private students went really well, but then I moved to Bristol because the music scene was so good. And then I started teaching for another company. I got a load of private students. It just builds and builds and builds. And then Good Vibes came along and was even better again. So I said to myself, oh, I'm lucky to be here in Good Vibes, because it was that next step of teaching high level, lots of people, lots of challenges, basic lessons, advanced lessons, and other people around you doing it. So me doing it for years isn't lucky, but still doing it for a long time and then getting a really good job, it's like, oh, I was pushing myself in that direction and moving towards that. And now to end up in a place where there's yourself and all these other amazing musicians who are teaching all the levels, it just kind of, it fits in. So it was a nice journey of, I think with anything you get good at, you just have to doggedly do it for years and almost fall in love with being bored with it and going, I can turn up every day in practice and play the same things and just get slowly better and better. And that is how you get good, like how you master something, I think.
Yeah.
Because it goes past the stage of loving it, and then it goes to the stage of how do I fit this into my life and still get better, and then that turns into this is my whole life and I'm getting better all the time. So it's just having the patience to do that journey. I'm 33, so it's been 20 years of playing to get to the point where I get to be part of a company like this, but that's the time it takes.
Definitely. And I think you're so right with what you said. Like I noticed since doing more teaching, particularly here actually, my knowledge has gone through the roof in terms of like music theory and like obviously sight reading. But things like that, and I think there's a lot of things where like I sort of knew a lot of this stuff. But until you have to explain it to somebody else, you don't know it that clearly. And I think the more you explain, like let's say I don't know, the modes. The more you explain the modes to people, the clearer you get about what it is in your head.
And then you can deliver a lesson clearly.
Yeah,
which makes a massive difference. The one that stumped me was a student that asked me, what is a scale? Because my sort of preloaded answer was like, it's a certain selection of notes that ascend and descend in, pitch. But I was actually talking to an 8-year-old and I was thinking like, well, that doesn't matter to you. And actually, if I want someone to grow up in the world of music and love it, what actually is a scale? And that's why I learned it was Pythagoras that it's a scale, it's a length, it's length. So, like on any instrument, if you use the same length, so from this note to this note is a tone, if you all do the same length of stuff, then you get the same sound. It doesn't matter on what instrument. And I was like, wow, okay. So now when I teach something, it's more music theory, it's more from a practical, a physical thing instead of it all just being imaginary. You're like, there is a length, like a ruler, and if you just hit those points on the ruler on any instrument, then you've got a major scale. And then if someone's interested by that, you go, well, the major scale is how you build chords, boom, and then the rest goes off into it. So it's like finding that actual knowledge of what you're doing and the history of what you're doing. How does a scale happen? well then who made a chord? And then, do you know what I mean? But
it's
knowing
funny,
that stuff.
those are the questions kids ask.
Yeah.
Adults don't ask those questions.
No.
But kids will say to you things like, why is an A called an A? And
Yeah.
you'll just be like,
Oh,
I have,
God.
you know, and you can go,
I
well, it's
should know
144 hertz
Yeah.
or whatever, but then that doesn't really answer the question.
No, not at all. Because there's that. You're right. There's like this scientific based thing that makes sound waves in a certain way, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, that's cool to know when you're into it. But really, like, to be able to explain to someone the basics of it, you have to know both sides.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have to go, well, actually, it just sounds cool. Sometimes in music, it just sounds cool.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it technically works or not. But to
Yeah.
explain something to someone, for me, learning the absolute ground level of where it came from was mind-blowing. You go, oh, I've just learned so much more about music by just going, hold on a minute. When was that invented and
Yeah.
how? Like,
See, I had my mind blown years ago when I was talking to somebody about slide guitar,
yeah.
and they were explaining, you know, people used to, you know, back in the sort of 40s, they'd have a diddly bow, which would be like a big piece of wire
Yeah.
hanging on the side of the house, and they'd play slide guitar on it. And he said, basically, whatever is perfectly in the middle of that piece of wire is the octave of the open. And you think, well, that's
the
fret
12th
12 is bang in the middle, and that's what it is. And it's you sort of work from, like you said, it's like a ruler, and then right in the middle, that's your octave.
Yeah.
And it's
It's a length
yeah, yeah.
thing.
So whatever, however long it is.
I guess the 12th fret is halfway between the playable parts,
Yeah.
right? So exactly why there's harmonics there.
Yeah.
Mad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy,
so it's
right?
just
Yeah.
any bit of wire.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's
yeah.
crazy. I didn't
Amazing,
know.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So how do you kind of take that ethos, if you like, and put it into your lessons with your students?
There's different stages, and it's really important to remember when you're first learning something, your goal isn't necessarily to have all knowledge of it.
Yeah.
You have to tick off like these satisfying things. People excel when there's enough of a challenge, but also it's satisfying enough.
Mm.
So I don't talk to someone who's been playing the guitar for a year with the same sort of wording as I would if someone's been playing it 10 years. There's different levels of knowledge. So it's really important to remember that actually my only goal when I was 14 was to play Thunderstruck and play it well. So when you've got someone that comes in that's that kind of passionate, you go, right, how do I explain what scale that's part of and how was that written, and give them a history that's really applicable to what they like. If someone comes in and absolutely loves Bill Withers, I'm not going to show them mastery of guitar because Bill played 4 chords. And you go, well, here's how he made them sound so cool and here's what he did. So it's taking the knowledge of what you have and then understanding that actually I've got 20 years of knowledge here. If I hit you with it in 4 minutes, it's not going to work.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why teaching's so cool, because it's such a personal thing to whoever you're in there with. They want this from guitar, and then as a byproduct, when they do it for long enough, they just learn how to be a good musician. So if you can nurture that right, I think it's great. Go, right, you're at the basics and you just really want to play an REM song. Sick. Let's go for it. Or you get someone in that goes, I want to be grade 8. You go, great, this is how you do that.
Yeah.
And those differences, that's sort of my ethos, is it's a personal thing. Let's work out what you want and then how we make you good enough at that to be able to do it on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so much of it's about harnessing that lightning in a bottle inspiration.
Yeah.
Like, because one of the things that, you know, I feel we do differently here at Good Vibes is that if someone comes in and they say, I want to play Thunderstruck, you know, I'm desperate to play this AC/DC song. What we're not going to do is go, great, well, here's a book. This is note number 1. This is note 2. This is how to play 3 Blind Mice.
Yeah.
You know, because I think that a lot of a lot of us were taught that way initially.
Yes.
I mean, my first experience with guitar lessons was classical guitar, and it was that. And I was the same as you. I wanted to be Angus Young.
Yeah.
And then I got suddenly put with, like, I've got to have a footstool, and I've got to, you know.
Oh, it's got to be up here. Yeah. It's vital. Actually, it's vital to sort of hone it towards the person that wants to learn it. You're so right, because it kind of throws you off a bit. And there's always this sort of preconceived idea that music teachers are, oh, no, you must practice again, and it must be like this. And it's sort of like here, everyone's so good at what they do. It allows them to take on their students individually and go, right, how do I tailor it for you? We don't have like this is how you learn the guitar. So no, this is how you will learn the guitar.
Yeah.
And it's emphasised in that, which is, you're right, it's so different. It's amazing. it's not, we have a style and we have stuff that we know we should do because we're all musicians of a certain level and we're all teaching at a certain level, but individually based on all the lessons is massive. It's really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're still a gigging musician, very much. Are you playing in just one band at the moment?
Three technically,
three,
but two were busy. So one of them was another kind of Latin band, the Globo Collective. Amazing. He's just moved, the guy who runs the band's just moved back to Valencia, where they gig all the time. So I'm going out there this year just to do a few gigs for him on the weekend and just see him. So definitely be in a band with people from all over the world because you'll see some cool stuff. And then I play in a band called the Crinkle Cuts, they've been around for ages actually. They're like a big 9-piece rock and funk band. So, you know, trombone, trumpet, saxophone a lot. And then I write for my own band, The Makings, who are doing quite well actually. We just got some really good reviews and some tours hopefully coming up this year, and someone wants to help us release an album. So that's sort of where I'm putting more of my time and effort now. So that's cool.
Brilliant. One of the things we love is having teachers here that are also working musicians.
Yeah.
You know, like, 'cause I think you and I both went to ACM.
Yeah.
It's always inspirational when your teachers are out gigging and out doing the thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool to be able to take that and then bring it to your students because it shows them, you know, here's what you can do. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And the music industry is so different, I think, from when we were kids listening to music. It was, you are 19 in a band, someone puts you on tour, you're signed.
Yeah.
And you see it as like this golden thing, and then actually you listen to them all later and they're like, it wasn't that good because we didn't know what we were doing, and then we were 30 and we didn't know what was going on. Whereas now, it might be harder to get to that spot, but to be a good musician, you've got all these cool areas to fill. Gigging, touring, songwriting, teaching, and when you've got all of that coming in together, you're like, oh, this is brilliant. This is the life that you can do. Like, I'm absolutely blessed to wake up and play the guitar and be able to, you know, live and have other people go, you're good enough at that for us to learn off of. It's just a compliment, and it's lovely to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's so true. I think there's just so many elements to being a musician now, and in fact, this ties in quite nicely with the production course that we've got coming up.
Yeah.
You know, I went to ACM and studied production.
Cool.
And it was because I was told actually by my teacher at the time, like, go and learn production because that will be something you need.
Yeah.
And it's like, it stood me in massively good stead just having an understanding of it. And I think nowadays, like, it's much more accessible to have an understanding of music production than it was, you know, 20 years ago.
Yeah, then you needed a giant studio.
Loads of microphones.
Yeah. Yeah, with, like, you know, being able to just do it on an iPad, or even you can get GarageBand on your phone.
Yeah.
And just make a cool track. It's just turned around now where you can't be a musician that ignores that. And it's harder to be doing that stuff with just an acoustic and then not wanting to go in and be able to learn how to record your ideas down.
Yeah.
Like, even just a basic knowledge of this is how you plug in an acoustic and how you make it happen. And even if you don't play the guitar or the drums, if you just sing, if you knew how to do that, you would be hired way more times throughout your life for just being able to go, I can help you set a drum kit up or a guitar up. It's just being knowledge, having the knowledge of the world that you're in, not just your specific instrument. So absolutely production. The amount of drummers that have gone, thank you so much, because you can help them set up their cymbals and their stands, and it helps everyone in the band. Learning how to mix in a PA system as well, or just plug stuff in, vital. Like,
and I think it's actually,
vital.
I think it's brought the standard of musicians up.
Definitely.
Because I think if all I ever had to do was play guitar, and I didn't have to learn about songwriting, I didn't have to learn anything to teach, I didn't have to be able to read music or any of it, I would be a much lesser musician.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Not getting that you need to be able to do other stuff is, like, it's a real pitfall, and you get it so much less now. Like, it used to be a thing, like, oh, singers don't know anything, they will just turn up, sing, and then they leave with their microphone. Now, all the singers in the bands I work with are helping with drum kits, or, there's so much you can do aside from getting your stuff down.
Recording the backing vocals, or, like, laying down harmonies.
Yes.
You know, it's all really important now.
It's massive. So, it's a huge thing to be able to do. In fact, it's as important now as getting proficient enough at your instrument to record it. Is being able to record it yourself. Still go to great studios and get people who are amazing at it for good level, high level stuff. But until you get there, you've got an entire world just in front of you that you just have to get good at.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Cool. Last question. Tell me something you're excited about working at Good Vibes, being here, teaching the students.
It would actually be hard to just say one thing. The main thing I would say at the moment is just the community of the people that work here. I just blown away by how friendly and how proficient everyone is, and just willing to help and just get you on board. I've taught for years, but it's never felt like part of a real team. Whereas here, it's we all meet up, we all gig, we all are planning and helping each other, and it makes you want to be better. It makes you go, right, I need to direct the rest of my life so I've got enough sleep, so I've got enough this, and to turn up and be good at what I do, so we can all make the company grow and learn new things. I think that's amazing. I didn't realise I needed it until about 2 weeks of being here. I was like, let's go. Once you get past all the terrifyingness of starting new things, new job, meeting people, once you get kind of past that little bit, you're like, oh wow, I'm part of a real team that people are very good at what they do here, and you just want to keep up, and it strives you to practice more and to research more. It's great. That would be my main thing.
That's great, mate. Well, we love having you here.